Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Eric. Today I'm going to continue to talk about some movies I have from the Criterion collection. So let's just continue on. So the first film I'll talk about, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, directed by Robert Altman. This film came out in the early 1970s, starred Warren Beatty and Julie Christie and quite a few Robert Altman regulars that he used throughout the 1970s. This is a revisionist western. It's set in the Pacific Northwest, and it's like I said, it's revisionist. So it's themes of capitalism and exploitation, and the profit motive in the settlement of the West. Although this is set towards the end of the West, I think this is early 20th century when this film is set. Also features music from Leonard Cohen, which adds a lot of atmosphere and texture to it. And a really good film. Really good film. Revisionist Western, as I said. So that's the first one. Moving on to Big Deal on Madonna Street. This is an Italian film from the 1950s, 1958. This came out. This is a comedy heist film about a group of misfits who get together and decide they want to engage in this complicated heist. Features a lot of Italian stars of the time, and I think this formula has been used in a lot of movies since then. This film itself was kind of a parody of heist films, which were becoming popular in the 1950s. Rafifi is one of the famous ones. The Asphalt Jungle, John Huston. So this is just a fun Italian comedy. Highly recommended. See next, Ministry of Fear. This is a British film from the 1940s, released in 1944. So this is a wartime London movie based on a Graham Greene novel about a spy ring in London and a lot of paranoia, a lot of intrigue in this film. Directed by Fritz Lang, I've heard it pronounced both ways, who, of course, the famous German director made this film. And it's been a long time since I've watched this one, but if you like World War II spy films, I would recommend Ministry of Fear. Let's see. Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. This was released in 1990. This was sort of I guess you'd call it an anthology film of sorts by Kurosawa, although he directs all the segments. There are maybe 9 or 10 different segments in this, and this is Kurosawa putting his dreams to film. Some of these are nightmarish, some are quite beautiful, but it's been a while since I watched this one too. Famously, there's a segment where Martin Scorsese plays Vincent van Gogh in a famous segment, but definitely a important entry from the late career of Kurosawa. Late stage of his career, I should say. Next, Hard Day's Night, starring the Beatles, released in 1964, directed by Richard Lester. Really important film, a rock and roll film. A lot of rock and roll films before this were mainly about performances. Like you had like The Girl Can't Help It. Elvis had done a lot of movies playing characters, usually more straight up dramas, although he would do musicals and like Jailhouse Rock and things like that. But Lester brought a real sense of movement and vitality to the rock and roll film, where you just were following the Beatles around as they're making appearances, TV appearances, recording music. So there's just a real sense of motion to this film that Lester brought to it that makes it really hold up as a classic. I mean, clearly it captures the Beatles at the height, as they were becoming extremely famous. And there's that aspect of the film where you can kind of latch on to whichever favorite Beatle character you have, and so that each of them kind of has their own personality. So it's a lot of fun to watch. The film probably looks a little bit dated now, but it's an important movie in the history of the Beatles, and the Beatles becoming movie stars. Film would become a big part of what the Beatles were doing, and so Hard Day's Night's important in that respect. So yeah. Another Italian film here. This is Bitter Rice. I've only watched this one once. This deals with labor and gender. It's also kind of a film noir, but it also has a documentary quality to it, as we are with a group of agricultural workers, and there's a lot of romantic intrigue and labor intrigue in this story. So yeah, so if you're a fan of Italian neorealism, Bitter Rice is definitely one to check out. See a couple of David Lynch films here. This is Eraserhead, which Criterion put out an excellent, tons of extras on this. A lot of David Lynch's earlier short films are available on this collection. Yeah, I mean, Eraserhead, it was a big underground midnight movie when it came out in the mid-late 1970s, and I think today we almost think of Eraserhead as like a mainstream movie, because David Lynch, in his long career, became... I always think of him, he started out as this kind of art house filmmaker who gradually moved into the mainstream. Like, I remember Lynch doing weather reports. I used to watch those a lot on YouTube. But Eraserhead, it's maybe the definitive David Lynch film. I know he spent years working on this film, working on the weekends, trying to get some footage. But it's definitely a distinct vision. Great example of surreal cinema, and just a movie loaded with symbolism, with humor, a lot of dark and disturbing imagery in Eraserhead. But definitely an iconic film from the era. Another Lynch film, The Elephant Man, which was released in 1980. Interesting history behind this film. It was produced by Mel Brooks, who hired... Brooks was a fan of Eraserhead, and hired Lynch to direct this film. And it's a incredible film. It might be my favorite David Lynch film. I don't know, but it's just... it tells a true story of John Merrick, who's played by John Hurt in this film. It's a vivid portrait of Victorian London. Anthony Hopkins is also in this film, and also there's John Gielgud and Bancroft. Just a really moving, surprisingly emotional film. If you watch Eraserhead and Elephant Man back to back, you'll definitely see a lot of similarities, a lot of stylistic similarities. But this is such a powerful film that's quite moving. So yeah. A few more here. War movie, Paths of Glory, Stanley Kubrick. Just a definitive World War I movie about the Western Front, World War I, and you have a pointless battle. A reckless commander orders a charge, and some soldiers refuse to take part in it, which leads to a court-martial. Yeah, just a powerful, still a powerful film about the futility of war. And calling it an anti-war film, I guess, would be a little bit simplistic. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but Kirk Douglas has the lead role in this, but a lot of great character actors, and just essential Kubrick film. see, another war movie, The Thin Red Line. This is Terrence Malick's film from the late 90s. This came out in 1998. It's about the Battle of Guadalcanal in 1942. Just a really impressionistic film. If you're familiar with Malick's style, a lot of his floating camera style, the narration, just a film that can be, I think, on first watch can be hard to kind of get a sense of, but it really picks up power through repeated viewing. So yeah, The Thin Red Line, definitely essential war film, World War II film. See, another Robert Altman film here, Shortcuts. This came out in the 90s when Altman's career, big career in the 70s. In the 80s, Altman struggled a bit, but had a big time revival in the 1990s. And Shortcuts this is a long film. It's it's almost a 3-hour plus movie based on the short stories of Raymond Carver, the short story writer. They kind of took elements from a lot of his stories and kind of put them in a blender in this film. It has a huge cast from its time. I feel like everybody was in Shortcuts, and it's just like I said, I'm due for a rewatch on this. It's set in Los Angeles as we follow just a lot of different storylines and characters. Definitely an influence on like Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. I think these two films have quite a bit in common, but just one of those huge multi-layered films with a big cast. And so the Shortcuts. Let's see, Army of Shadows, Jean-Pierre Melville film about the French Resistance, one of the key films about the French Resistance, which is kind of it's not romanticizing the resistance. There's a lot of emphasis on realism here, and as we follow these different characters, dealing with a lot of difficult moral choices as they are resisting the occupation during World War II. So, Melville is a filmmaker who is, like I said, has a distinct style and a really important film about the French Resistance during World War II. El Norte, film by Gregory Nava. This came out in the 80s. This is a timely film. It's about immigration. We follow a brother and sister who, I believe from Guatemala, make their way through Mexico and hope to build a better life in America, which they do make it to America, and we get a look at what the experience is like for someone who has made their way here, hoping to achieve a living. But a really like a timely film. We need more films like this today because it really tells an important story and just a really emotional, harrowing film that's well worth watching. It's El Norte. And the last one I have for today is My Own Private Idaho. This is a Gus Van Sant film, kind of a 1990s, early 1990s indie film starring River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves. This is loosely based on Shakespeare's King Henry IV, parts 1 and 2, very loosely based on those. But it's set in the Pacific Northwest, about a century after McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I believe the film ricochets between Portland and Seattle. It's kind of a road picture. We follow these two drifters and what life is like on the fringes and kind of in the bohemian artistic community of the Pacific Northwest. So it's just a really stylish film, but two young stars, one who would unfortunately, River Phoenix would pass away early, and Keanu Reeves, who would go on to a very long career, a career that's still flourishing. So, yeah, a really good 1990s film, My Own Private Idaho. So, yeah. So, those are the films. Maybe I'll do one or two more of these. Keep talking about them. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts on any of these films, please let me know. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.